Camera off.
Good evening and welcome to the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks online open house and lead Q&A. We'll get started right at 6 o'clock. We're just going to give other folks some time to get logged in and get settled. So again, we'll begin right at 6 p.m. We're really excited to be here with you tonight and looking forward to talking to you about lead. Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's online open house and lead Q&A. We've still got a few minutes. We're just letting everybody get some time to get signed in, and we'll start right at 6 o'clock tonight. So we're really excited to be here and talk to you guys. Give us just a few more minutes. We'll get started right at 6. So we would love to welcome everyone to tonight's Greater Cincinnati Waterworks open house and lead Q&A. We're going to be here with you from 6 to 7 p.m. At any time during this lead Q&A. You can post a question for us. We'll go over how to do that in just a minute. My name is Sarah Citizen, and I work in community outreach and engagement for the Greater Cincinnati Waterworks with the Lead Service Line Replacement Program. With me tonight is Charlotte. Say hi, Charlotte.
Hi, everyone. My name is Charlotte Walton. I work in the customer outreach, customer liaison area of our lead service line replacement program.
Awesome. So we're going to share some information with you tonight, and then we'll take some questions from the team so we can go ahead and take it away. So at any point during the online Q&A, you can submit questions to us. If you are on the desktop and signed in, there is a live chat function on the right-hand side, right by that little yellow bar where you can submit questions. If you are not signed in, there should be a link that'll take you to a form that can submit questions and or submit them through our email at lead@gcww-Cincinnati dash
Cincinnati.
yes, Cincinnati dash go. Sorry. Okay, we'll go over it again. If you are on the YouTube app, there is a live chat there as well where you can directly submit questions. And then if you are on the mobile browser, you can email questions to lead@gcww.cincinnati-oh.gov, which is the real email address. Or you can visit the question form. There is a link in the video description, and you can fill out a form that will also shoot us an email, and we will answer those questions. We're going to share some information with you about our team and about lead and our lead service line replacement program. And then after that, we'll start answering questions. So our team consists of a number of people who do administrative stuff, community outreach and engagement.
Sorry about that.
Very good.
Okay, so I'm going to just jump right into the presentation that we have, and thank you again for joining us for this online open house and giving us an opportunity to share information about our program and answer any questions you may have about the program. So I hope that you will feel free to pop in any questions in our chat or any ways that you can submit those questions to us, and we can get those answered for you tonight. So lead was a common plumbing material used in the 1800s up through the early 1900s. So older cities like Cincinnati and some of its outlying areas have a lot of lead in the service line system. So of our roughly 250,000 lead service lines, about 35,000 of those are still lead. So we are working as quickly as we can to get that out of the system. It's going to take us about 10 to 13 years to do so, but we are working as efficiently and effectively as we can to get that out of the system. The potential to enter drinking water, the potential for lead to enter drinking water comes as that plumbing material corrodes. So Waterworks does a fantastic job of treating the water in such a way that a barrier is created on the inside of those lead pipes. And so there's a scale that is built up. However, if that scale were to corrode, if there were a leak in that line or a break or some kind of disturbance that would alter that scale, then there would be the potential for that lead to get into the water. The water is treated, the water is perfectly safe, but the best way to eliminate any of that potential for that lead to get out of the system is to remove it from our water service system. So the primary risk of lead exposure in drinking water is from those service lines, and we just want to get them all out of there and taken care of. Sorry about that. My mouse is a little touchy. So this is just a little infographic about what a service line is. A lot of people don't know if they have a lead service line or what their service line material is, or even what a service line is. So this is a little pictorial to illustrate that. So out in the street here is the GCWW water main, and the service line runs from the water main all the way to the meter within the building or the house. In between there is what we call the curb stop. So if you go out and look on the sidewalk or perhaps in your front yard, you may see a little round cap there. That is the top of the curb stop. And that is the dividing line between the public side of that service line and the private side. So the public side is from the water main to that curb stop, and that is owned and maintained by GCWW. And then the private side, owned and maintained by the property owner, is from the curb stop to that water meter inside. So again, our water is treated. Normally, there is certainly not a problem with lead getting into the water, but should it get into the water, there are some health effects to humans. The most vulnerable populations are pregnant persons and children under 6, but it can certainly have health effects for everyone. So some of the symptoms that we see would be in newborns. They would have low birth weight, or born prematurely, or slowed growth. Symptoms in children may include developmental delays, irritability, loss of appetite, weight loss, nausea, hearing loss, fatigue, and seizures. And some symptoms in adults may include high blood pressure, mood disorder, joint and muscle pain, reduced sperm count, headaches, abdominal pain, and miscarriage or premature birth with our pregnant women. So Waterworks has been doing service line replacements since the 1970s, and generally those would take place as part of water main replacement projects. So when Waterworks would go out and replace water mains, they would also replace the public side of those service lines. At that time, there wasn't a, at that time, if the private side of the service lines were to be replaced, it would be on the property owner to do so at their expense. But in 2016, City Council enacted an ordinance to replace what at that time was 42,000 public and private lead service lines in the Waterworks distribution system. At that time, it was a cost-sharing program where Waterworks would pay 40% of the cost, up to $1,500, and there would be additional assistance for our eligible low-income customers, but it was a cost-sharing model. In December of 2021, Council changed that ordinance to allow Waterworks to pay the full cost of those replacements. So anyone who has a lead service line currently on the private side is eligible for a replacement at no additional cost. Waterworks is bearing the cost of that replacement for all of our customers. Right now, we have replaced a little over 7,000 lead service lines. We have a long way to go, but we are working as fast and as efficiently as we can to get those done. So there are a few ways that lead service lines are replaced. Again, the most cost-effective, efficient way that we are doing that is as part of water main replacement projects. So when we are in the area doing a water main project, that is the time that we are reaching out to our customers in that area to get them signed up to replace the private side of those service lines at the same time. Those types of projects are done in phases where we go in and replace the service line, we replace the water main, and then we go back and replace those individual service lines associated with that water main. So again, we will be reaching out to our customers on those projects by mail, by text, by email, by door knocking, really reaching out any way we can to get you and encourage you to sign up at that time. It's best when we can do large scale projects like this and take care of a lot at the same time. So that is one way. The second way is a more reactive way. We call them one-offs. And those happen if there is a leak on a line or a break, or there is some type of disturbance that would affect that scale in that line, perhaps. And we want to get that service line out of there so that that lead does not leach into the water for that family or that customer. Like I said, it's more reactive. Another way that you might qualify for a one-off is if you submit a water sample and that water sample turns out to have a lead content that exceeds our action level, then we want to get that lead service line replaced for you as quickly as possible. So that's our one-off program. And then the third way is it's another project of sorts. It's a more large scale than one-offs, but these are doing just the private side service lines that remain in an area. So for instance, we've already replaced that water main in that area and we've done the public side. Now we want to go back and get those that remain on the private side that we weren't able to get before. So that's just another more large scale and efficient way for us to do a lot of service lines at the same time. So as I mentioned, we have, it's going to take us about 10 to 13 years to do all the remaining service lines that we have in our area. So there are some things that customers can do in the meantime if they are concerned about lead or having a lead service line. So the first thing is learn if in fact you do have a lead service line. And you can do that by going to our website at lead.mygcww.org. And there is a button. It says View Lead Map. It's a big orange button in the middle of the page. And you can click on that and it will take you to an interactive map, and you can put in your address or your friend's address or your family member's address and see if they have a lead service line. So that's the first step. You can sign up for a free sample testing. So you can go on our website, and there are a couple of buttons where you can request a sample kit. Waterworks does this service for free for our customers. You could request a kit. We would have a sample kit delivered to you, and there will be 3 bottles in that kit, and you do the sampling. There'll be instructions in that kit. It's very straightforward, very easy to follow. You can do that sampling, and then you go back on our website, request a pickup. We will come and pick that sample up for you. And it may take a couple of weeks, but we will process that sample and let you know the results on and whether or not you have high lead in your water. If your water has been sitting stagnant or unused for more than 6 hours, then flush your faucets. Just let them run for a minute or so, just until you feel that cold water, and that will flush out whatever may have been sitting in those pipes for a significant amount of time. Use cold water for cooking and drinking. Again, just let it run till it runs cold, and use that for cooking and drinking. And then get your service line replaced when we're in your area. So again, we will be reaching out to you in a myriad of ways. So please respond when you get something from us in the mail. Please read and sign that agreement and get it back to us as soon as you can, so that we can get you signed up when we are in your neighborhood. Also, I just want to remind you to please update your contact information if you've moved, if you have a new email address, if anything has changed, and we are going to be using that information to reach out to you. So please make sure it is current and that we have updated information for you. So we have a few projects going on now. The first one we will talk about is the Jonathan Ruth Wood Burn Project, and this is in Evanston. This is a service line only project, so this is one of those projects where we have already replaced the water main in the area, and we've also replaced the public side of the service lines. And we just need to come in and do the private side of the service line. So construction for this one will begin soon, early 2025. There are 184 lead service lines on this project. And again, this work, these replacements are at no additional cost to the customers. We just, need you to sign up. We can't work on private property without your permission. So please get that signed agreement back to us as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, tenants aren't able to sign at this point in time, so we really do need the owner's signature. So again, get that back to us as soon as possible. The next project is the Beach 8th St. Lawrence project. This is in West Price Hill. And we have, again, this is a service line only project. There are 249 lead service lines on this project. Construction began for this one in November of 2024. So it's about to wrap up. There's not much more time on this project, but there is a little bit more time to get our remaining customers signed up. So if you haven't signed up and you live in one of these highlighted areas on the map here, or you know someone who lives in these areas, please talk to them and have them reach out to us so that we can get them signed up for the program. If you live in these areas and you've not gotten anything from us, or you don't remember getting anything from us, please give us a call, an email, and we will get the information to you. We can email it, we can mail it, we can knock on your door and come to you with an iPad so you can sign it. Then we will get the agreement to you in pretty much whatever way you ask us to. We want you to sign up. So we will work with you any way we have to. The next project is the Baltimore Water Main Replacement Project. So this is one of those, as it says, it's a water main project. So this is going to be done in phases. They're going to go through this project area and replace all the water main first, and then they will come back and do the individual service lines. So there are 113 lead service lines on this project. Construction for this one began in January of this year. And there are a number of streets on this one. So again, if it looks like you live in this area, please reach out to us if you've not gotten anything that you recall, and we will get an agreement to you. The next one is Baker Place, Bedford Avenue, and Salute Terrace Avenue. This is also a water main replacement project. It's a little smaller. There are 13 lead service lines on this one. Again, no additional cost to the customer. This is at Waterworks expense. So please don't hesitate to sign up for this. The construction for this one will begin later this year, so there's still plenty of time to get signed up. So please do so if you haven't already. Then Cambridge Avenue Water Main Replacement Project. There are 21 lead service lines on this one, and construction will begin later this year for this project also. And then there is Werner Avenue, Madison Avenue Water Main Replacement Project. This includes 22 lead service lines, and construction for this project will also begin later this year. So plenty of time to sign up. Please get the information back to us when we send it to you. And then if you have any additional questions, If there's anything that we didn't answer tonight that you think of later, or any concerns you may have, please give us a call at 513-651-LED. That's 5323. Or go to our website at led.mygcww.org. And you can also email us at led@gcww.cincinnati-oh.gov. We love and appreciate talking to our customers and answering any questions for them, and addressing any concerns that you may have or any fears or anything like that. So please give us a call and we will talk you through the whole process and get you signed up. Thank you.
Charlotte, thank you so much. And we recognize that this is a lot of information to take in all at once, and a lot of information is out there on the website. We do have a couple questions. The first question that we received was asking if a renter can sign up. And Charlotte touched on that a little bit. A renter cannot sign the agreement to have lead service line replacement done, but a renter absolutely can get a lead test kit, find out, what's going on with the water. Is the scale working? And another thing that we really encourage renters to do is to make sure that your landlord is aware, that you have a lead service line. We mailed letters out earlier this year in the late summer and early fall to all of our customers that had lead service lines. We mailed them to all of the tenants and we mailed them to all of the owners. So the owner of your property, if you're renting, should know that you have a lead service line, but it is possible, that they discarded that or got thrown away. So if you are a renter, if you didn't get a letter, you can go onto the website and check to see if you have a lead service line. And then we would just encourage you to be sure that the owner of the property is aware of that they're aware of the program. We would love to talk to them. We're happy to reach out and have those conversations with the property owner. So renters can test the water. They can be on the lookout, for information about these projects and stuff to be sure that their, property owner is aware. But we do contact the property owner directly when they're eligible for lead service line replacement. And then Charlotte, we had another question about restoration. Do you want to kind of talk a little bit about restoration and how that looks for our customers on one-offs and projects?
Sure. So restoration generally occurs pretty quickly if you had your service line replaced in the spring or the summer. If you had your service line replaced in the winter, it may be spring before restoration takes place in the growing season, so that they can, replant that sod or reinstall that sidewalk square. The disturbance to the property is really minimal. It's generally done in the vast majority of cases. It's a trenchless process. So typically they're just removing a sidewalk square, and then that line is being fed from, underground trenchlessly from the curb stop to your meter on the inside. So the disturbance is really minimal. So before final restoration is done, there will at least be some temporary restoration done, just to, so the area is safe and that sort of thing. But typically restoration takes place within about 60 days, unless you have your service line replaced over the winter.
Thank you. And just another note, we also do basic restorations. So if you have, non-native grass or some extremely elaborate landscaping, our contractors will do everything they can to come up with a plan that won't disturb that. But if it's absolutely not possible for them to do that, it is always possible that a customer could have to remove a bush or something like that if there's absolutely no pathway around it. But that's really pretty rare. We very rarely have major changes to the lay of the land or any problem restoring the property to the way that we found it. So we have another question, and it's how do I know when you're planning to come to my neighborhood? Which is a big question because we have, more than 35,000 lines still to do. And one way that you can see where our projected projects are is to go out on the lead the lead.mygcww.org to go onto the lead map, and you can see there on the lead map all of the current projects that we have either in construction or in design are highlighted on the map. So you can pull up your house and you can kind of see in the area, where we're going to be working. And then we are always working to plan more of these projects. So you'll see, there'll be new projects popping up. But like Charlotte mentioned, it is going to take us 10 to 13 years. You can also call. We're always more than happy, to discuss it with somebody. If you get out there on the website and you're just not sure what you're looking at or the highlight is unclear or something like that, we'd love to have a conversation with you. You can give us a call or reach out to us via the lead email to contact us and ask questions about your specific neighborhood. So those are all the questions that we have for the moment. Charlotte, is there any other topic or any other thing you want to share?
Would you like me to go through the website, perhaps?
Yeah, we can do the website real quick. That would be great.
Okay. Okay, so we'll just kind of go through the website and go over some of the information that is included in it. And it gives a lot of good information and answers some of the basic questions that people often have about the program. So when you open up the website, the first thing that you will see is this infographic. And I went over this in the presentation, but just in case you're just now tuning in, this is just a little information for people who are really unfamiliar with what a service line is. And so it shows our GCWW water main out in the middle of the street, and then the service line running from the water main to the meter inside that building, typically in the basement or a crawl space or something like that. From the water main to about the right-of-way or the sidewalk is the public side of the service line, and that is owned and maintained by GCWW. And it stops at what we call a curb stop. So that is the little lid or cap you may see in the sidewalk in front of your house or in front of the building. And that is where water gets turned on and off if it needs to be. But that is what they use to do that. And so that's the dividing line between the public side and the private side. So the private side is from that curb stop into the building where the water meter is. And that is privately owned by that property owner. So if we are doing any work, any service line replacement, that is why we need the property owner's signature, because that is their property. And we can't do any work on it without their permission. So going down into the page a little bit further, if you are unsure whether you have a lead service line or not, we have this little interactive map you can click into. And the first thing you'll see is this little disclaimer that essentially says this information is accurate to the best of our knowledge. Sometimes private owners may have changed out their service lines and we don't know about it, but this is information as accurate as we can make it. So you click OK out of that. And then there's a box at the top here where you can put in any address and then click enter and your address will pop up here. And so there's a legend off to the side, and the left side indicates public side, the right side indicates private side. And the boxes will tell you whether or not it is lead or non-lead. at that address. So if you see a green check box, that means it's copper. And if you see a yellow box, that means it's lead. So you can look through these addresses. This one has 2 green check boxes, so it's copper on both sides, the public side and the private side. And this one has a green check on the public side, so it's copper on the public side, but still lead on the private side. So, like I said, you can look at any address in our service area and find out what kind of service line material they have. And Sarah mentioned that we sent out notifications last year to all of our customers that our records show have lead service lines. But if you think that our records are incorrect and that you have copper, you can come here and click this link and self-identify. So you can, what we ask you to do is go down to your water meter, and this is a little picture showing roughly what it should look like. So this is the exterior wall. This is your service line coming in from the outside, and then your water meter, and then the piping going to your interior plumbing. So we ask that you test this area coming out of the wall just before your water meter. So you'll take a coin or a screwdriver or something like that and just lightly scratch an area. And these are the most common service line materials we see: lead, copper, or galvanized steel. And so these will tell you what that will look like if you do that scratch test. And then we ask you to submit a couple of photos. So we ask that you take a picture of the entire water meter setting and then a close-up picture of that test area. And you will submit those photos. There's a link up here that will take you to our self-ID submission form. So you'll put in a little information about your account, and then upload your photos, and those photos will come to us. We will have someone take a look at those and ID that material. And we require a 2-point verification. So once we get those photos, we will keep a record of those. And then at some point in the future, one of our crews will have to go out and identify the material at the curb stop. Many years ago, sometimes partial replacements were done. So you may see copper coming into your house, but there may actually be lead somewhere in the yard. We don't do that type of thing these days, but way back in the day, that could have been done. So we do require the 2-point verification in order to change our records. But you can start with a self-ID. And then we've got some additional information off to the side. We've got a community outreach link, and that will take you to a place where you can view these online open houses, recordings of those, or other activities that we have going on out in the communities. There's a place for neighborhood stats. So you can go in here and check all the various neighborhoods in our service area and see how many total service lines they have, as well as how many service lines have been replaced since the beginning of the program, and then how many are left to replace in those neighborhoods. And then there's a page for active projects that Sarah mentioned. If you want to see when we may be coming to your neighborhood, you can be on the lookout for us, but you can check that out there. There is a link. We mentioned water sampling. So you can come here and request a test kit or request a pickup. As I explained, it's very easy. The instructions, again, are in the test kit. It's very easy to follow. And we will do all the labor in pickup and delivery, so you don't have to worry about that. And it's a free service for all of our customers, so take advantage if you're concerned. And there's some information about childcare and school testing, and then some frequently asked questions. And you can move on down, and this just kind of gives some information on what the replacement process looks like. So once you sign and return that agreement to us and get into the program, a contractor will contact you before they do any work on your property. They'll explain the process, answer any questions that you may have, address any concerns or anything like that, but you'll have an opportunity to talk to that contractor. So then the replacement occurs, and then after the replacement, the contractor will assist you in flushing that plumbing. So in case anything got into your service line while that replacement was taking place, they will help you flush that system, remove your aerators, clean out your aerators, and get anything out that may have been caught in that service line. And then after the replacement, within 3 days afterward, we ask that you send in a water sample, because we want to make sure that that everything was flushed out properly. So the contractor will leave you a sample bottle as well as a filter pitcher kit. So we ask that you use that filter pitcher kit until the samples come back clean, and we just want to make sure that all those impurities are out of the water. And then afterward, restoration takes place. So like I said, usually restoration takes place within about 60 days. But if it was done in late fall or over the winter, we will get that final restoration done by June 15th of the following year. So again, temporary restoration will be done so that the area is safe, but final restoration may take a little longer if you're done in the winter. And so far we've done 7,106 replacements. So that's great. We have a long way to go, but we're moving along. And then we have some testimonials from happy customers at the bottom, as well as a video. And that is the website.
Excellent. Thank you, Charlotte. There really is a lot of great information out there on the website. And, if there's anything that you need clarification for, like we said, we love to talk to our customers. We love to receive your emails. So if you're out there and you're looking around on the website and something isn't clear to you, just reach out to us. We'd love to, talk about it a little bit more, clarify anything that you might find confusing or assist you in any way that you need. We do have another question. So this customer would like to know, if the previous owner replaced the line already, what should they do? And we would say that the first thing we would want you to do is go on to the LED website and look at the LED map and see, is our record accurate, reflecting what you think you see. Charlotte just kind of pulled up that self-ID page, part of the website, where you can kind of see what the different materials look like. Copper looks like a penny. Most people are kind of familiar with what copper looks like. It'll kind of corrode a greenish color. So if older copper, you might see some copper and a little bit of greenish corrosion. And then galvanized steel, as you could sort of see in that photo, is kind of dull. And if you scratch it, it does not get shiny. Lead is dull, but if you scratch it, it will be shiny. Lead also tends to have that kind of bulbous point right before it that you can kind of see and maybe identify it that way. So if you do not think that our record is accurate, we would ask you to go through that self-identification process that Charlotte just kind of explained, where you figure out and determine what you think you have. Go onto the website, submit those photos for us. Then, as she said, we'll take a look at them. We'll have some of our experts take a look at them. And then if we identify it, as not what your record is, that record would be changed. If your record was previously showing copper and you actually have lead, we would change that to lead and you would be eligible for the program. If you had lead and you're seeing copper inside your home, We would change that interior record not until we did the 2-point verification. So if we see copper inside your house, like Charlotte was explaining, we can't change that record until we have a second point of verification out near your curb. And Greater Cincinnati Waterworks would incur, the cost and the labor of doing that. One of our crews would come out, very minor excavation, at the curb, hopefully to kind of see what you've got out there. And if we see copper out there, then we would change your record. If we see lead out at the curb, then we would, you would be eligible for lead service line replacement. So, many years ago, like she said, it was fairly common for only portions of that line to be replaced. And we just don't want anybody to have a partial lead line somewhere in their yard and not know about that. So we do require that 2-point verification. So if you do not think our record is accurate, please reach out to us, either do self-identification or give us a call, shoot us an email, let us know what you've got going on. We're happy to assist. So that was the last question we have for the moment. We've got about 20 minutes left. Do we want to slide through the presentation real quick again, just for anybody who may have joined us or might have missed the full presentation at the beginning?
Sure.
And then again, if you still have questions, please continue to submit your questions either through the email link or through the chat on YouTube. Thank you.
So back in the 1800s through the early 1900s, lead was a common material used for plumbing and service lines. So for cities like Cincinnati that are really old and the outlying communities, we have a lot of lead in our system. And Cincinnati stopped using lead for service lines in 1927. So anything built before that, there's a good chance that there is lead in the service lines. So of our approximately 250,000 service lines, about 3,500 of the 3,500 would be really nice. 35,000 of those are still lead. So we are working as fast and as efficiently as we can to get those removed from the system. Cincinnati Waterworks does treat the water in such a way that a barrier or a scale is built up around that, the inside of that lead service line, and it keeps the lead from leaching into the water. So the water is perfectly safe to drink. The problem comes when that lead, or if that lead begins to corrode for some reason. So if there's a leak in the line or a break or some kind of disturbance that would break down that barrier, then there's a chance that lead could leach into the drinking water. This is a photo of a lead service line. So that is what it looks like. So this is just a little infographic on what the service line is. So in the middle of the street is the water main, the GCWW water main. And the line coming from the water main to the water meter in the inside of the building, typically a basement or a crawl space, that is the service line. So from the water meter to the curb stop, which is roughly in the right of way, in the sidewalk, in the front yard, that portion from the water main to the curb stop is owned and maintained by GCWW. And the portion from the curb stop to the water meter inside the building is owned and maintained by that property owner. So if we are doing any work on that private side, the side owned by the property owner, that does require permission from that property owner in order to work on that side and get that private side service line replaced. So should lead somehow get into the water or get into our bodies from any source, whether it's paint or soil or water, there are some real serious health effects with that. The most vulnerable populations are pregnant persons and children under the age of 6. But some of the symptoms we see in newborns are premature birth, low birth weight, and slowed growth. Some symptoms we see in children are developmental delays, irritability, weight loss, fatigue, nausea, loss of appetite, hearing loss, and seizures. And some symptoms in adults include high blood pressure, mood disorder, joint and muscle pain, reduced sperm count, headaches, abdominal pain, and miscarriage or premature birth. So Greater Cincinnati Waterworks has been replacing service lines since the 1970s. And at that time, we were doing water main replacements and then the public side of the service lines at the same time. Unfortunately, at that time, if property owners wanted to replace their service lines on the private side, it was at their cost, it was at their expense. But in 2016, City Council enacted an ordinance to replace what at that time was roughly 42,000 public and private lead service lines in our distribution system. When the program began, it was a cost-sharing program. So GCWW paid 40% of the cost, up to $1,500. And there was a little bit more assistance available. It was called a HELP program, and that was for our eligible low-income customers. But in December of 2021, City Council changed that ordinance to allow Waterworks to pay the full cost of those replacements. So anyone in our service area who has a lead service line is now eligible for a lead service line replacement at no additional cost. It's paid completely by Waterworks. So far, we've replaced a little over 7,000 lead service lines. We have a whole lot to go, but we're moving as fast as we can. So there are a few different ways that lead service lines are removed. The first and most efficient way and cost-effective way is when a water main replacement is going on in the area. So at that time, water main is being replaced. We are doing the public side of these service lines. And that is the time we are reaching out to all the customers in that project area and trying to get them signed up into the program to get the private side of their water main, of their service lines replaced. Again, it's the most efficient, it's the most cost-effective way when we do larger scale projects like this, that we can do a lot at the same time. So, so if you find out that you live in a project area and we are sending you information, please sign up, please get that information back to us, sign, so that we can get you in the program and get you a new service line. The second way is what we call a one-off, our one-off program. And so those are more reactive situations where a customer may have a leak or a break or some kind of disturbance on that line that is causing, that could cause that scale that's built up on the interior of the lead service line to corrode or to be affected somehow and allow that lead to leach into the water. So we want to get those taken care of as fast as possible. Another way that someone may qualify for the one-off program is if they do a water sample and it comes out to be a high lead reading in that sample. And then thirdly, another large scale sort of project are clusters of lines in a neighborhood where the water main has been replaced, the public side's done, and we need to go back and get those private side service lines replaced. So as I said, we've got many, many more to go, and it's going to take us 10 to 13 years to get all these service lines, all these lead service lines out of the system. So there are a few things that customers can do in the meantime. First of all, learn if you have a lead service line. And you can do that by going to our website at lead.mygcww.org. And there's a big orange button in the middle of the page that says View Lead Map. You can put in your address or the address of anyone that you're interested in knowing if they have a lead service line, and check it out and see if you do in fact have a lead service line. Again, if you're concerned, if you do have a lead service line and you're concerned about the lead content in that water, you can sign up for free testing. You can go out on our website and request a sample kit. We will have that delivered to you. You will take the sampling. There are instructions in the kit that are very straightforward, very easy to follow. And then you can go back out. You can do the sampling, go back to our website and request a pickup, and we will pick up that kit for you and do the analysis. If the lead content exceeds our action level, then we will get you into the program and get your service line out of there. If your water has been sitting unused or stagnant for an extended period of time, more than 6 hours, flush that water. So when you wake up in the morning, when you get home from work, if you are coming home from a vacation, just run your taps for a minute or so until that water turns cold, and just flush out anything that has been sitting in those service lines stagnant for an extended period of time. You want to use cold water for cooking and drinking. Again, turn on the taps, let that water run for a little while until it gets cold. And then when we come to your neighborhood and we send you information, sign up to get your lead service lines replaced. We need your permission to replace your service lines. We need an owner signature. So please, please, please sign up. We will get you an agreement in whatever way is easiest for you. We will mail it, email it. We will come to your door and you can sign it on an iPad. We will send it through DocuSign. We will do whatever we can to get you into the program. So we do have a few projects going on now. The first one I'll talk about is Jonathan Ruth Woodburn, and this is in Evanston. And construction for this one will begin soon. There are 184 lead service lines needing replacement on this project. This is a service line only project. So the water main has already been replaced in the area. The public side service lines have been replaced. We just need to come in and do the private side of those lead service lines. So if you live on any of these highlighted streets and you have not received anything from us, please reach out to us and we will get you the information that you need to sign up and get in the program. If you did receive something from us and you set it aside or anything, please pick it back up and sign it and get it back to us as fast as you can, and we will get you in the program. The next project is Beach 8th St. Lawrence, and this is in West Bryce Hill. And there are 249 lead service lines on this project. Construction for this one began last fall. So it is nearing completion, but there's still a little bit of time to get signed up. So if you live on any of these highlighted streets, please send your agreement back to us as quickly as you can. Again, we do need an owner signature, and these are at no additional cost to the property owners. Baltimore water main replacement project. This is a water main replacement project, so this will be done in phases. The water main replacement will be done first, and then we will come back and do all the service lines off that water main. So there are 113 lead service lines on this one, and construction for this began in January of this year. Baker Place, Bedford Avenue, and Salutaris Avenue water main replacement project. This is a smaller project, but there are 13 lead service lines on this one for replacement, and construction for this will begin later this year. So plenty of time to get signed up, but please do so as soon as you get information from us. And then we have Cambridge Avenue Water Main Replacement Project, another fairly small project. There are 21 lead service lines, and construction for this will begin later this year also. Warner Avenue, Madison Avenue Water Main Replacement. There are 22 lead service lines. Construction for this one will begin later this year. We have started outreach on these already. The ones that I say will begin later this year. So please be on the lookout for anything. You should have gotten something already if you were on any of these project areas. But if you think you missed it, if you think you don't have it, please reach out to us. And here's our contact information. We are happy to talk to anyone if you have questions, if you have concerns. If we didn't answer some of the questions you may have tonight, please give us a call. Our number is 513-651-LED. That's 513-651-5323. You can visit us at our website at led.mygcww.org, or you can email us at led@gcww.cincinnati-oh.gov. So again, we are happy to answer questions. This is what we do. So please feel free to contact us and ask us anything. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Charlotte. Our team is very passionate about this. Waterworks is very passionate about this, and we really are going to get all these lead service lines out of this distribution system. But like Charlotte was saying, we cannot do that without the permission for the property owners right now for that private side service line replacement. So again, we just really encourage people to know if you have a lead service line replacement, need if you have that lead service line there. And then Charlotte mentioned earlier, if you haven't checked your contact information with Greater Cincinnati Waterworks in quite a long time, when we come to your area, we'll be using the contact information that you've provided Greater Cincinnati Waterworks to get a hold of you. So if you have an old email in there or an old mailing address, say for a rental property, or old phone numbers, anything like that, we'd encourage you to either call our customer service line at 513-591-7700 to update that information, or to go into the portal. If you do online for your account, I believe you can also update information there. Just be sure we have good contact information for you so we can get a hold of you. We send postcards, we send mail, email, text messages, we do door knocking, but the most effective way for us to contact you is if we do have good information already. And we will get to everybody. If you have questions about timelines or anything like that, you're welcome to reach out to us. We cannot say definitively, where we're going to be in 5 or 6 years right now, but we are absolutely working all the time to put together all different types of projects to be sure that we are in every neighborhood and that we get all of these service lines replaced. Is there anything else you have, Charlotte, for tonight?
I don't.
Okay, great. Well, it is 7 o'clock. It has been such a pleasure to spend some time with you and answer questions. Like Charlotte said, if we didn't touch on something, or if you joined late and you have additional questions, please just reach out to us. We absolutely love to talk to people. Phone number is 513-651-LED or 5323. You can visit the website, or you can send us an email at led@gcww.cincinnati-oh.gov. So please just reach out if you have any more questions. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. We will be back here again next month to do this all over again and answer more questions and hopefully help more folks out.